to the Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent and Jodibailey. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. Today, Brent and Jody welcome
the founder of iamhelp, John David Romick.
And now, Brent and Jodibailey.
Hey, good Monday, everybody. Welcome to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It's good to have you with us today. We are back live in the studio after a great week last week of spring break. I'm glad to say it was a good week. We had a good restful time. Our kids enjoyed the time off from school. And right now we're heading over to the tech booth where Jody and Preston are in the house working diligently today. So
hey everyone.
It's good to see everybody. Everybody recovered from your trip?
Yeah. I think we are. We drove, and it was a long drive, wasn't it, babe?
It was excruciatingly long.
It was. And these kids were so good and so quiet the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you give them NyQuil. No. No, they were really good. They sat in the back. We drove to Kentucky to see my parents for that, and then we spent a couple of days in Atlanta touring around, looking at movie sets and things like that.
Yep.
And we got to go by where they filmed Cobra Kai.
Yep.
And we wanted to walk up there and say, "Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it, Mr. Lawrence?" And
that's what we do. We love to drive around and look at the different
that's right.
scenes or just different locations where they film. So many places that they film in Atlanta, the Atlanta area, surrounding areas. So it's beautiful, beautiful land.
Yeah, it really is. And we had a good time. And then, of course, Preston and his brother like to sit on their phones the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not while we're touring, but while the drive is.
No. They enjoy
the mind-numbing drive.
Yeah, so it was fun. And it's what we do. We've done now for 3-4 years?
Well, we didn't go last year because
we didn't because of COVID.
But this would have been our fourth year. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was fun.
So if your kids have been on spring break either last week or the week before, what were your big plans? What did you do? What did you go out and let us know in the comments below while you're clicking the share button on today's podcast. Let us know what your excitement was. Now, of course, you're getting ready for Easter, too. Easter is coming up this Sunday.
Yep.
Resurrection Day.
Yes.
And so what are your big plans for that?
Yeah.
Let us know also in the comments there.
It's, I expect a really beautiful day, and we're going to be with our church family.
We are going to be with our church family.
To it, so yeah, it's wonderful.
All right, so what's going on around the country today, Jody?
We were talking about Easter Sunday, and a lot of people like to get together and celebrate with food and dessert, and what a great dessert, a lemon chiffon cake. Great dessert for Easter.
Yeah.
It's that lemony flavor, but also the look of it is so springy. So that's our food of the day.
I don't know. I'm probably confusing lemon chiffon with lemon meringue.
No, it's
meringue's got the
cake.
real thick.
Yes, thick. Cream.
You're talking about cake. I'm thinking of a pie.
Yes, this is actually lemon chiffon cake. So it's cake, and it's got that lemon custardy stuff that's in between layers, and a beautiful cake. So hey,
happy lemon chiffon day.
Lemon chiffon cake. If you are looking for a different dessert to make for Easter and for the spring, why don't you look that up?
All right. What else is going on today?
It is it's Nevada Day.
Oh yeah, it's Monday. It is a state day. So happy. Is
Nevada
it the
Day.
silver? Is that what they are? The silver state? I believe it is. I believe they are the silver state. Happy Nevada Day.
Yes.
That's one of our favorite places to visit.
It is.
I can't stay there very long.
No.
It gets kind of but we love to go to Las Vegas,
do.
see the show, see the lights, walk around, see all the people.
Yep.
It's a really fun place to go.
It
So,
is. It is. So
yeah,
hopefully
and that
you're
drive
enjoying.
over from Southern California is absolutely breathtaking when you drive
It
out
is.
to the...
It is, and it is the desert, but
Yep.
there's hills, and I mean, it's just
Yep.
it's really beautiful.
Especially if you live on the eastern half of the United States, that is a beautiful drive
It
out
is.
there.
It's
You're just
different.
not used
Yeah.
to seeing that. So.
Right.
All right, what else is happening
It
today?
is also Mom and Pop Business Owners Day. So what that translates to is small businesses.
Yeah.
So we've had some of those. We've had times or had some of these days where we're recognizing small businesses. But today, go dine or go shop at your mom and pop places.
Yeah.
Listen, mom and pop businesses, I don't care what anybody says, they're vital to the economy of the United States. And so really give them your business. If you feel like it, go ahead and, why don't you appreciate them maybe with some kind of a gift card or flowers or something.
The best thing you can do for a mom and pop, though, is to go shop there and,
Yes.
and take part of their
Support
businesses.
them.
I,
Yes.
I am grateful for the big companies, the corporate companies,
Yeah.
but we can have both. You
Yeah.
can have a successful corporate entity and a successful small business
Yes.
community. My parents are not corporate owned. They are a
They're
mom
a
and
mom
pop
and pop,
organization. And so I highly encourage and believe in that. And those of you who are small business owners,
Yes.
we applaud you today.
Yes.
So thank you so
Thank
much
you so much for sticking
for all
in
of
there.
your hard
Yeah.
work. So
And some of those mom and pop like restaurants and diners are so
or like the
good.
little shops. I know where I grew up in Ashland, Kentucky. There is a suit store called Don's Men's Shop that is
Yeah.
really one of the only ones that has survived all the way up to now. When I was growing up, there were several, but now Don's is the only one left, and I believe it's owned by Don's daughter, and they're still there. Those are the kind of stores we're talking about.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then our last one is very important. It is National Vietnam War Veterans Day.
Oh, thank you very
and,
much.
I mean, for those that fought in the Vietnam War, you all deserve so much appreciation.
Because you didn't get it when you came home.
Yeah.
And those of you who
Yeah.
fought in the war did not get the reception that you deserved.
Yeah.
And have it's been a long process for people to even recognize and appreciate what you did for this country.
Yes.
And we are so grateful
Yes.
for you and all the things that you've done. Those of you who fought during the Vietnam conflict, thank you very much for your
Yes.
service.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, it was a long
It
war.
really was. It really was.
And
so
I love seeing or meeting people that fought in that war, and I know there's a lot of people that are still alive from that. Lots of veterans still alive.
Yep.
Then of course there's several that have passed on. So.
I know. We had the pleasure of working for Pastor Hagen, and he was not in Vietnam, but he was in during Vietnam, but he was stationed in Taipei, Taiwan. Anyway, we are grateful
Yes,
to
we
you,
are.
to you gentlemen and ladies who served during that time. We
Yes.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much
much.
for your service.
Yeah.
So, okay, well today we got a great guest, and before I get to him, I just wanted to talk about what's coming up this week. We're going to try and talk about it a little bit every day this week. This is Resurrection Week. It started on Sunday with Palm Sunday, goes all the way through. We've made no bones about it here on this program. We are a Believers, a Christian-based talk show podcast, and this week for us means everything. This is the week that Jesus marched into Jerusalem in the triumphant entry, and then the crowds turned on him, and he was of course put to death and crucified on this coming Friday. Now this is the part I wanted to talk about today. People say, did it really happen on this day? Did it really happen on that day? Is last Sunday the triumphal entry? And to me, the days that are the celebratory days, it's irrelevant whether it happened on that day or not.
Right.
We are not married to this religion so much so that it has to be on days. The days are not what matters. If he was born in December or not is irrelevant. the fact that he is real. He came, he died, he rose again. Whether he marched into Jerusalem yesterday or not is irrelevant. It's the fact that he did it.
Yeah.
And if I just choose a day to celebrate that and an observance of that, that's what's important. And every day this week, as we are marching towards Good Friday, this is a week that matters for you as a believer. So allow yourself to celebrate Easter this year in a way that represents what Jesus did, not when he did it. All right. All right. That's what's going on around the country today. And now let's jump in with our guest as we expand your search. My guest today is somebody I've had the pleasure of knowing most of his life. Not all of his life, but most of it. I met this young man when he was probably 11 years old-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. And he was just a young guy whose family was missionaries overseas. And we just kind of, we started to kind of build this relationship over the years. We would see him while my wife and I were youth pastoring in Oklahoma at Rhema, and his family would come in from time to time, and we just kind of built this relationship. And now he and his wife are doing some incredible things to help other missionaries around the world, and he's also doing some other ministry things that are very exciting. I'm really excited to have a really close friend of mine, somebody that we consider, almost like a little brother. Please welcome to the program, John David Romick. Hey, buddy, how are you? Great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being with me.
Yes, it's extremely exciting to get invited by the sensei. So for those of you that don't know, Pastor Brent is my youth everything sensei, and it's obviously incredible to be here.
You're making me blush underneath this makeup. Listen, it's so great to see you. It's always great to have you on, and anytime you come around, anytime we're able to be with each other, you got so much going on. I want our viewers who do know you, obviously, through the Word of Faith Circle, but then also I've got a lot of viewers that you've never met before, and I want them to hear about what you're doing. So let's talk a little bit. First, you grew up really kind of as a missionary, and your parents were missionaries there in Bogota, Colombia, and you've kind of been involved in that your whole life.
Yes. So I was born in Bogota. I am Colombian. I had triple nationality, but when you're 18, you have to give up one. So I gave up Guatemala. Sorry.
That's where your mom's from, right?
That's where my mom is from. And my dad is from Cleveland, Ohio, and I was born in Colombia. So we're literally an all-American family from north to south. My parents have been in Colombia for 35 years. And through the ministry, Bible schools have been planted, and over 450 churches have been planted as well. Amazing. And so it's a thing that we're all a part of.
Yeah, you were telling a story before we went on here about when you were born, that your actual birth was go ahead, tell that story.
Yes, my actual birth was like the first seed into my parents' ministry, because back then there was only you could only be in Colombia for 2 or 3 months and had to go out because of the visa. But because I was born in Colombia, they got a special visa that they don't hand out anymore. And it's like an eternal visa. Like you don't have to renew it or anything. So they got to stay. And so it's what we do as missionary kids.
And I was going to say, what was that like? I mean, I guess you didn't know any different. You were born there, raised there. Did you get to make it back growing up on the mission field? How often did you guys come back? I know we saw you a couple times a year, but besides coming to see us.
We would usually go once a year for like a month or two. And my dad would itinerate like in all the churches, raising funds and everything that missionaries do. So that to us, we didn't know what vacationing was, because we honestly thought that vacationing was like driving in the caravan all around the country, preaching at churches, until a pastor once gave us his house or something, and we just hung out for a week, and we're like, so this is vacation. It blew our mind. It's like, you mean people don't preach every day everywhere they go? So that was fun. But we would go, although we didn't feel like the States was our home, because we were born in Colombia, and so we just visited and stuff. But my dad obviously did, and we have cousins in Ohio and stuff. But it was just different. It was a different feel.
Now, you're saying we. I guess we should tell everybody. John's got two brothers, Danny and Sam, and they are very much involved in it as well. Now, I know that we would see you. You'd come here to the States, and we would see you during camp meeting and things like that. And that's where we kind of got to know one another. But then I actually got to be one of the few, or I guess the many, I don't know, the people that go down and to actually see you in action down there. And the things you were doing at that time were most impressive. Now, you were hosting a youth conference then and all kinds of stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we had it's still going, but there's a youth ministry that we started called New Race. So kind of like you're a new creation, you're a new race. And that was the concept then. We just wanted to build this youth ministry based on the premise of, if we are a new race, a new creation, we're going to act differently. We're going to talk differently. We're going to do everything that we do differently just because we're different. And we ended up having a conference, which you went there twice, I think.
Yes, I did.
If I'm not mistaken. It's Extreme Fire Conference. And so we wanted to be different in the sense that we just didn't want to be like a trendy conference, but we wanted to be like a powerful conference. And I think actually you were at one of the conferences where we saw there was this whole platoon, because there's a whole historical background to it. But in Colombia, there's a 40-year war that had been going on. And so there's an actual platoon called the health platoon or something. And it is like everyone that has been hurt or injured in the war gets to be a part of this platoon. And so they got invited, and I think like 40 of them came because the average age of a Colombian soldier is like 18 or something. And so it was a youth conference, so they got to come over. And one of them had his eye shot out, and another one had like 6 bullets like in his leg, and so he had a metal rod in there. And when they came up to receive healing, one of them got his eye. The guy got his eyesight back, and the other guy, his legs started moving. I didn't know he had a metal rod in there, but one of the kids like prayed for him. So it was cool. That to me was I had forgotten about that. That to me was one of like the coolest nights ever.
I actually remember you standing on stage talking to him, because I was finished by then. I was off the stage, and you had it back by then. And I remember you walking over and saying that to him. I remember that service. That was incredible. I know we came once with Rhema, and then I brought a group from my church here, and I remember preaching at that one when I brought the group from here, and they had already gone back. I was preaching that night, and I was supposed to catch a plane, and I'm up there, and we're just ministering away, and you're interpreting for me, and you lean over to me, and you go, "Hey, just so you know, you need to go, because it's time for your plane's going to leave in a little bit."
Exactly, yeah.
Those
That's
were fun times. I mean, I talk about it all the time to this day. So now let's move into kind of a little bit more what you're doing now. You have a tremendous ministry with your wife, Carolina, and you guys have started something called iamhelp. And what it's doing to me is it's entrepreneuring in ministry mindset for me. And when I heard about the concept, it's really amazing. There's so many people that are going to benefit from it. Can you talk about the basis of it?
Yeah. So obviously I was born into a missionary mindset and family. And so I know what it's like to be a missionary. And I heard a missionary once say it this way, Terry Mize, I don't know, you know Terry Mize, but anyway, I heard him once say that missionaries are the only frontline soldiers that go back to base to beg for bullets. And that always resonated with me, because that to me was my vacation time. My vacation time was traveling with my dad, begging for bullets in the way. And it's not a sob story or anything like that. It's just the reality. So God put it in our heart first he just put in our heart missions again, just like revived missions. I couldn't like get it out of my head. So I thought I was just going to go to Southeast Asia or something and just like plant a ministry. But then he told us to not reinvent the wheel, but to help those that have already started things around the world. So what we decided to do is basically itinerate for missionaries and help them communicate what they're already doing, and helping the missionaries know that what they're doing is amazing, And all you need is maybe like a tweak in communication, which is where my wife comes in, because that's what she studied. She's like a communicator and designer, and like storytelling to her was like, that's what she learned 10 years ago. And so just being able to communicate, raise funds, raise awareness on what missionaries are already doing, and how you as a church or you as a person can be connected to missions in different ways. It's our heart. And so that's what we call the iamhelp, because this is not John David Ministries. This is not Carolina Communications. This is all about helping and bridging the gap between those that are helping and those that want to help.
So how does that work? If somebody has you come in for an itinerating thing, are you coming in and are you doing a normal service, or are you presenting the program? How does a service with you work on the weekend?
Well, to be honest, what we want to do is we don't want to be invasive at all. Like, we don't want to be just another like NGO or something like that.
Sure.
So what we do is we just impart vision, and that's so when I get invited, that's we just speak from the heart, whether of things that we've seen. Listen, we went to Venezuela a year ago, and we met this guy. He takes this yellow bucket to this jail cell. And so you would love it, because I know you've seen Prison Break before, but this Prison Break is like season 3. This prison is like season 3 of Prison Break, where the government's not in it anymore. They just gave it to the people in the jail. So there's this one guy that is like the head boss or patron of the whole jail cell. And so he's got like a house with a pool inside of the jail. And so, but he has allowed this missionary to have like a prayer group, as long as he brings in food. So all he has is this like yellow bucket. And so in this yellow bucket, he pours in 60 soups, but his prayer group is like 300 people. And he says that every Monday he's able to serve 300 soups. And their slogan is, just don't look at the bottom. Just don't look at the bottom. Just keep serving until everyone is filled. Like mind blowing. And so that's what we communicate. It's like, hey, we're not trying to push you into missionaries or missions. This is just what's happening, and you get to be a part if you want to, by prayer, by giving, by just, sharing the message. And it's awesome.
That is amazing. I mean, that's the kind of thing that people need to hear about. There are so many stories that people hear that, oh, this happened on the mission field. I wish I could tell you more. That's really the kind of thing you're doing, is communicating those kind of stories. Well, you got any more? I want to hear another one.
Yes. So that one's like one of my favorites because of all that they do. We ministered we ministered in this place in Venezuela, this other city that used to be the witchcraft capital of the world. And they hadn't had like any ministry campaign, camp meeting or anything for like a couple of years. And I was like the first white guy that they had seen in like 5 years, because of what's happening economically and everything. So we decided to do this thing. It's in the middle of nowhere called Calabozo. And what Calabozo means is like skull, is a skull. Like the place of the skull, like Calavera, Calabozo. Anyway, so we were there. So we set up 100 chairs. But because there hadn't been anything done, like over 1,000 people came and got saved. And so this one little church got 10 times as many people in one night, and it wasn't us, it was their idea. We just wanted to support it.
Yeah.
So we came in and they got 1,000 people out of it. Like, it was awesome. Like, that was just another quick one.
That's amazing. So if somebody does get involved with you and what you're doing there, what you're doing is you're actually turning around and helping these missionaries. What actual help are you doing besides the communication part?
Yeah, so everything that is raised through iamhelp, 100% of it goes to the missionary. So to give you a quick example, her name is Marta Garcia. She's a missionary. She went to Scotland. She's a PhD, and so she got master's, everything. She's got a doctorate in what she's doing, but she felt the call of God, and so she left all that and she went to like help start a church there, and she needed $15,000 to start the church in this April. And so we actually got the call like last week where all the funds have come in for that project, and so they're going to be able to start it in April. And it's all so our name is, iamhelp, and we're a nonprofit, and we emphasize that that's what we want to be, completely not for profit. So people ask us, it's like, what do we do to live? I have a job. Carolina has a job. We want to keep it completely separate. And so people, when they do give to iamhelp, it'll go 100% to missionaries and missions as a whole. But that's not the only way they can help. You can help through prayer. So we've started like prayer groups for it specifically, because that's like the invisible part that makes the visible things happen. And so we do that as well. And we're about to launch a website. Can I give you this testimony?
Yes, please do.
Because the website, so we're like, we started this with nothing. And so everything has just been happening continually. So we saw there's this big business that excels in websites. So their websites cost 10,000 grand, like 10 grand to whatever, 50 grand. Like, it's just because they do it all. So they were giving away one, and it was just, all you have to do is like submit your name, participate, and everything. And we got to the top 3. And so we're like, okay, so we're like praying this out, because the people that we were competing with are also like massive NGOs and just doing amazing things. So we were just praying about it, and we got the call, and we got it. We got it like just supernaturally. And so we'll be launching it at the end of April, I think, because it takes, like, to do it well, apparently it takes time. And so like, I'm like so anxious, but the things we've seen for it are amazing, to where you're going to be able to like give and then have like a follow-up and see the journey of the missionary and what has happened. And we're all about personalized feedback. So it's not just sending you a newsletter, but it's actually, taking that next step and actually showing you as like Brent, the supporter of Iraq, this is what's been doing, and this is what's been happening, and just connecting you. That's what we want to do. Not anyway.
Let me ask you one more question. No, it's good. It's good. What let me ask you on the flip side of it. Let's say if there's a missionary out there that would like to get on your services or your help, how does someone go about doing that?
Just connecting with us. What God put us in our heart. So when we got to the States, we're like, we're at a hotel. We didn't even have a place to stay. It's like, God, what do we do? And God just told us, literally, he said, start inviting people for coffee. Just start doing that. Start creating relationships, because what he put in our heart is, he wants it to be more than a transaction. He wants it to be a meaningful connection. And so that's like our slogan is meaningful connections for meaningful lives. And so we just start. So we've met missionaries through coffee. We've met pastors through coffee. We've made friends through coffee. There's been moments where I've had to drink like 3 or 4 coffees in a day, and I'm all jittery at night. But it's all for the kingdom.
I've actually participated in that with you at the Wawa right there on Universal Boulevard.
You showed me the way in Wawa.
It's glorious. John David, man, I mean, to hear those kind of stories, it makes the hair stand up on my arms. It's just amazing. I'm so proud of what you're doing and so proud of you. Before I let you go today, if you were just going to say, an encouraging word to somebody today, COVID seems like it's starting to loosen up a little bit finally, and things are starting to turn, but there's still a lot of uncertainty out there.
Yeah.
What would you say to everybody?
Well, if I can, I'll give you one COVID testimony, because it's obviously hard to do missions when you're quarantined. And actually, last year was our biggest mission outreach yet. We were able to donate over $50,000 through COVID to different missionaries. And the way it was, we knew that we had to change what we were looking for. And we were looking for, in the sense, connections and people, money, results. And God put it in our hearts to just look for him, because when we have him, we have everything we need. So there was a moment where I was working at Amazon pulling boxes, like 18 miles worth of boxes every day, just like pulling. But God put it in my heart. It's like, we're still going to do missions while you're at Amazon. And we got a call from Uber. Like randomly, we got a call from Uber. They had found us. This person had told them about us. And through Uber, they're like, hey, we've got this excess of money. What can we do? And I was just praying it in the spirit in general at Amazon, FTW6. And while I was there, God just put in my heart, we're still going to do this because I'm not quarantined, was what he said to me. And so we got a call from Uber, and then with what Uber helped us do, we blessed 5,500 families that were quarantined in Bogota, Colombia, with food baskets.
Wow.
And it happened while I was working. So where we are at in life really doesn't affect what he can do through your life. And so whether it is quarantine, where it is, I mean, I was making, I forget what, like $15 an hour, which was great. But we had so many things to do for missionaries, and we had budgets and commitments and all of these things. And God came through, not because I got a raise at Amazon, but because we just we changed our heart to what we were looking for. We weren't looking for results. We were just looking for his presence. And so if I had 10 hours at that Amazon place, I couldn't talk with anyone, had a mask on. So I was like, well, I can only talk to you. And so that to me was a blessing. Not at the moment, I couldn't realize it was a blessing, but it truly was a blessing to understand that when we have him, it's what Paul says, that he reached the pinnacle of success in education and religion, but he considers it all trash compared to the knowledge of knowing him and the power of his resurrection. And he considered that to be the true riches. And that's what we excel, and that's what we want, is to know him anyway.
Amen. Folks, this is John David Romick of iamhelp. And if you'd like to get some information about that, the website, do you have a website now? And then it's launching this new one?
So okay. It's iamhelp.co, iamhelp.co.
Okay.
And so it's still there. We have like a donor box set up for now. Okay. And also our Instagram account is help.im, because the iamhelp guy doesn't want to sell it to us yet. So it's help.im, and that's where we've been communicating everything and everyone. And to those that participate personally, we'll get a personalized response, all of that stuff. But
all right.
That's where we're at.
So awesome. Proud of you, pal. Thanks so much for coming and being with us today. Looking forward to hearing more great testimonies. Give our love to Carolina and Pastor Joel, everybody at Word of Life. Tell them we said hi, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Sensei, thank you.
Hey, all right. This is John David Romick. Now let's stop for directions. Help. That's a word that many people hate to ask for. A lot of folks even more hate to have it asked from them. It's a word that shows weakness, but it's also a word that interrupts our life. However, help is not a bad word either way. For those who desperately need it, help is something that we have access to, especially if we're surrounded by people that love us. All we have to do is ask. It doesn't mean that you're inept. It doesn't mean that you're weak. Help is a sign that you're actually doing something. It isn't shameful. It is what we all need, because this life is a lot of times bigger than us. For those who are giving it, don't look at it as someone taking advantage of you. Helping someone else has been done for us countless times. God helps us every day. His word says that he is a very present help in the time of trouble. Can you really be a help to someone and not recognize that you're being like God? Help is not an inconvenience. Help is sowing seed into someone else's life and their purpose that only opens the door for more help to come your way. Hebrews chapter 6, verse number 10 says, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love that you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. When was the last time you helped someone? I don't mean a trinket of help, I mean real help. When was the last time that you raised money for somebody, did some work for someone, bought somebody something, actually sowed some real help into someone else's life? God is our help, and our life is to go and do likewise. Be the help to someone else that you want when you need it. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. I want to thank my guest, John David, for his work with iamhelp.com. Next time, we're going to have Julianne Hartman, the wife of Fairly Odd Parent creator Butch Hartman, and she has a tremendous healing ministry that she's going to be sharing with us about next week. My thanks again to Jody and Preston for another great show. And again, my special thanks to John David Romick of iamhelp.com. Until next time, I hope that you found what you're looking for as you took the time today to expand your search and stop for directions. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @expandingyoursearch on Facebook and Instagram and @expandingsearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for directions.